Here's your news for December 6, 2019. We're starting off with some news from tonight's edition of SmackDown, as Roman Reigns is set to collide with Dolph Ziggler. This match comes off the heels of last week's Reigns vs. Robert Roode match, though the big dog should keep his eye on what's happening out of the ring, as King Corbin has vowed to humiliate the former Universal Champion. On last week's show, Reigns challenged the Lone Wolf to a match, but Corbin declined, leaving Roman to face the Glorious One instead. To defeat Roode, Reigns had to fight off interference from both Corbin and Ziggler, as well as a scepter shot by Roode, though it was Roman who had the last laugh, spearing the former NXT champion through the barricade and burying him under the announce table. Tonight's show at Crown Coliseum in Fayetteville, North Carolina will also see the feud between Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt continue, after last week's show ended with the Yes Man agreeing to another match, only to be dragged under the ring and have his hair pulled out by The Fiend. Their rematch will presumably take place next Sunday at WWE TLC, but with the show so close to happening, the company is running out of time to promote matches, meaning some haven't made the cut. According to the Wrestling Observer, 2 huge matches from Raw were planned, but probably aren't happening now. As the report goes, the other 2 matches are right now on the books and unlikely to be changed, which are Aleister Black vs. Buddy Murphy and Viking Raiders defending the Raw Tag Team titles against Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. It's clear that the Dutchman will have to pick a fight with Murphy some other time, and while it'd be nice to see the Raiders vs. the OC on pay-per-view, WWE seemingly has other plans. News from NXT now, and after AEW star Britt Baker was shown during the recent TakeOver War Games, fans and journalists alike have speculated whether this was intentional. The vast majority, if not all reports about the incident have said that Baker, the real-life girlfriend of Adam Cole, was not intentionally chosen for the event, and that the camera operator was just looking for concerned faces and found one. Now, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful has weighed in, saying he doesn't believe that Triple H had planned to show Baker on screen, claiming, "If it wasn't an accident, Triple H would have had to tell somebody beforehand, 'Hey, get her on camera and I'll pretend that I didn't want it.' I don't believe that at all." He and Stephanie went to Britt Baker, talked to her about it. He was like, "Get her off camera," backstage in Gorilla from people I spoke to. In a post-takeover conference call, the cerebral assassin did say he felt bad about putting Baker in that situation, and on the bright side, at least Baker's Google search trend skyrocketed. It seems AEW were fine with this as well, as they parodied the incident on the latest edition of Dynamite, and the TNT show also narrowly beat NXT in this week's ratings. Showbuzz Daily reports that Dynamite pulled in 851,000 viewers this week, very narrowly beating NXT, who brought in 845,000. With just over a 6,000 viewer lead, it'll be interesting to see what the next 2 weeks of the Wednesday Night Wars are like, especially with NXT stacking 2 weeks of loaded programs, and with the Christmas holiday always skewing things as well. AEW is already loading up their December 18th episode as well, with several title matches planned for the night, and it looks like the new company can breathe easy, as the recent low 600,000 viewership number must have been contributed to the Thanksgiving holiday. While AEW is promising some big things for the rest of the year, one star fans won't be seeing until January on the show is Nyla Rose. During this week's show, Rose defeated Leva Bates in a singles match, but after the bell had rung, delivered another beast bomb to the blue-panted star, as well as referee Rick Knox, until Shanna made the save. As a result of her actions, AEW has announced a storyline suspension for Rose for the rest of the year, and this is the first of its kind in the company and follows Jimmy Havoc being fined for his use of weapons last month. It'll be interesting to see what Rose will have to say and do when she returns to TV, but for now, the roster can rest easy knowing she won't be around. Back to WWE now, and in an era where so many legends are joining other promotions, Jerry the King Lawler isn't going anywhere, as he signed a new 3-year contract last month. Interestingly, the King signed a 2-year contract in January 2019, so it's unclear if this is an extension or if this first contract has been replaced by the newer one. After a few years away from TV, Lawler is back at the helm on Monday Night Raw, and being a more regular presence on WWE TV than initially intended may have been a factor in deciding a new deal. One man who knows all about deals is CM Punk, who seems happy to be back in the world of pro wrestling as part of Fox's show WWE Backstage. Though he may be a part of wrestling again, that doesn't mean the Second City Savior is holding back on his opinions, as during an interview with Ryan Schiavone of Windy City Live, Punk was asked about his favorite wrestler from when he was a kid. Unsurprisingly, the charismatic Punk quickly responded with Roddy Piper and gave some serious truth when asked why he didn't pick Hulk Hogan, saying, "No, I wasn't a Hogan guy. I've met him and I like him even less now. Him." Punk's beef with the Hulkster dates way back to the 2015 NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, where he cut an amazing promo about the respective fandoms. With both Punk and Hogan working with WWE in different capacities, a sit-down interview with the two would be great to see, and something that would definitely help bring in viewers for Backstage in 2020. From two retired legends of the industry to the stars of tomorrow now, as WWE has revealed their nominees for the 2019 NXT Year-End Awards. Voting is already open on the WWE website, where fans can choose from their favorite male and female stars of the year, as well as their favorite matches, takeover events, and other categories. The winners will be revealed on the January 1st, 2020 edition of NXT on the USA Network, and fans should get their votes in while they can, as polls close on Wednesday, December 18th. We've got some huge news regarding the WWE Network now, as the company has quietly launched its free tier version of the subscription service. As previously reported, the plan is for several tiered plans of various prices to launch in early 2020, and this follows a survey sent out a couple of years back which suggested fans were after a free plan that features mostly clips already on social media, as well as a monthly cap on the number of hours that can be watched on the free stream. This new free version of the network is part of a beta launch, and the full-blown tier launch is expected in the next couple of months. The rumored plan is for WWE to launch a top-tiered plan that would include content from independent promotions that WWE work with, such as Evolve, for a speculated price of $14.99 a month. Fans who don't want to dish out the extra cash can stick with the standard $9.99 a month, which will give them everything they already receive, but not the content from independent promotions. Another plan for the tiered network is also to feature more house shows, and the recent Starrcade event was the latest test run to see if this idea was feasible. There is also an idea to move the NXT TakeOver shows to Sunday nights beginning in February, which would allow the live events to be showcased on the Saturday, in a style similar to the old Saturday night's main event specials that aired on NBC in the 80s and later on in the mid-2000s. There has already been talks of adding a cheaper paid plan which would include most of the content already available, but would also include commercials between events. One superstar fans can check out on the network is Dio Madden, and fans may see a lot more of the Raw commentator, as he's hanging up his headset to make a return to the ring. It seems that there is more than what first appears behind Madden's exit from the Raw broadcast table, as while it's true that he wants to wrestle again, Vince McMahon reportedly didn't like his commentary work, according to Brian Alvarez, who said on Wrestling Observer Live, "I don't know if Dio Madden himself is gonna get mad, but I'm sure we'll hear that this is not accurate, but this is what happened," he continued. Vince and Kevin Dunn didn't like Dio Madden on commentary, and they took him off commentary, and I think they were gonna try to retrain him or whatever to do commentary, but now I guess he's decided he wants to be a wrestler again. Alvarez also added that the official story will be that Madden chose to step down to pursue an in-ring return, and added that he thought Madden was fine as a commentator, especially for someone with limited experience in the role. Noting that Dio was brought in at Paul Heyman's request, there's no word on who will take over his role when Samoa Joe gets cleared, and with the former NXT champion expected back in just a few weeks, McMahon will need to find someone new soon or choose to have a two-man team. One name that fans certainly shouldn't expect in the role is Enzo Amore, who continues to have bad blood with the company since his departure. Even when he was part of WWE, the Certified G wasn't exactly making friends, and revealed this week on Talk Is Jericho that he was briefly fired for passing gas. He said, "One time in promo class with Dusty Rhodes dude, Baron Corbin was up there cutting a promo, and Baron Corbin was trying to get help and Dusty was helping him. I just raised my hand and everybody looked at me, and I just farted loud as hell. They fined me $250 and fired me that night, and then I got back into work the next day and they rehired me." It's good that Amore's unfortunate belly burp didn't cost him his entire career, and while he may have believed Corbin's promo deserved a fart, that wasn't the response Dusty was looking for. In the same interview with Jericho, Amore also admitted that he's a big fan of marijuana, but didn't smoke during his 5 years where he was making $600 a week working for NXT. The former Cruiserweight champion also claimed that while the $2,500 fine was too much for him to pay, it would have been fine for more higher-paid stars, as he argued that half of them smoke weed. He said, "I'm a huge pothead and I'm open about it now that I'm out of the company and I can talk about it. For 6 years with the company, I was never in a picture with a beer in my hand, never. I couldn't smoke pot in the WWE for 5 years. They fine you for it. They fined you $2,500 and I was broke. I started off making $600 a week in WWE for a year, so I was taking out credit cards just to pay my bills. So when I finally looked at my bank account, probably like 6 months into the main roster, I was like, you know what? I could take a fine right now. And I lit up a blunt again for the first time. And to me, that's my medicine, bro." Marijuana, I don't know if anyone has ever smoked a joint and then beat his wife. A guy got hammered drunk and something happened, but this is legal. So it helped me. I'd rub the CBD cream all over my body when I was with WWE. That'll get you fined $2,500. Yeah. And that's the thing a lot of people don't know. Probably half the locker room smokes pot. And why do we do that? You can't do pills, you can't do drugs. If you drink, you might end up like Cass. Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't want any of that stuff to happen to me. It's common knowledge that Vince McMahon once lit up a joint in front of Donald Trump of all people, so it's obvious that the chairman doesn't have much of an issue with marijuana, though the company's wellness policy is pretty cut and dry about catching drugs in superstars' systems. There is a system of penalties and suspensions that can and have been given if a superstar pops for anything other than weed. If they have $2,500 to spare, then they can pay their weed tax. That seems to be worth it for a lot of WWE superstars. One superstar who knows all about the company's wellness policy, though not for the right reasons, is Jeff Hardy, as the charismatic enigma has continued to work to get his life back on track. On a recent PW Insider audio show, Mike Johnson wondered why WWE kept Hardy around given his history of legal trouble, and said that his deal has been frozen because of his knee injury. Johnson also noted that WWE strongly implored Jeff to get help and get healthy, and that Jeff aggressively dove into doing that. Basically, it's tough for WWE to let Hardy go when he's trying to battle his substance abuse issues, as firing him at this weak time could hurt Jeff, the WWE as a whole, and could leave him free to sign with AEW. Even if AEW didn't sign the former world champion, there's also Impact Wrestling. But we hope everything works out for Hardy, as he remains one of the most well-liked guys in wrestling despite everything he's been through. Time for a feel-good story now, as Mauro Ranallo returned to NXT this past Wednesday and received a standing ovation from the loyal fans. Ranallo, who fans last heard at TakeOver War Games, was publicly shamed by Corey Graves on social media for his commentary, and after a barrage of abuse by fans of the savior of misbehavior that affected the bipolar rock and roller, Ranallo took a few weeks away to focus on his mental health. It should be mentioned that Graves did eventually apologize for his actions on the After the Bell podcast, though this apology did come after days of Graves picking fights online with people who supported and care about Ranallo. And finally today we're ending with news from WWE Shop, as fans can now join Huskus the Pig Boy by doing the Muscle Man dance. For some reason, the puppet of Bray Wyatt didn't receive a replica when the WWE started dishing out merchandise for the Universal Champion, but the new doll is now available and comes complete with a Wyatt Gym t-shirt. At $34.99, the toy doll is pretty steep in price, but fans should remember that they could buy nearly 200 Huskuses for around the house for the same price of one Fiend Universal title. The backstory on Huskus the Pig Boy is quite interesting. Bray Wyatt's first WWE character was Husky Harris, but he was often called Soft. That certainly changed when Husky became Bray Wyatt, as the so-called army tank with a Ferrari engine has gone on to become one of wrestling's most unique and captivating stars in years. But what do you think of Wyatt's new merch? Do you think it's too much to shell out for a toy? Have your say in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching.